Welcome to a Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and this is our August 2025 wrap. We are Telltale Books, bringing you the best in literature, literary topics, and graphic design and bookmaking.
If you want to support us, you can find us on Etsy and Pango, where you can find gently used, rare, and even top quality used books.
And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and maybe even that bell to be notified when new videos go live.
Thanks for joining us.
Month of August seems to have been a little busier than the previous couple months. Got a bit more news to talk about. Well, actually, two news stories and one that's really just opinion. And just same old opinion that I've expressed before, but prompted by something I saw just recently. The biggest news that I'm seeing going around because I'm just kind of a interested side party watching this mess unfold. I'm not going to say too much about it. Go on YouTube, search for Audra Winter, and you're going to come up with lots of videos with lots of different opinions. I'd rather not say anything negative to add to it. Just want to report what I've heard, because it is pretty much the big story for books right now. And that is a young author named Audra Winter. She did a Kickstarter for a book, apparently back in 2021 or 2023, a while ago. And she collected quite a bit of money, and she published her books and she sent them out, and people hated it. I don't know what percentage of people hated it, but if you watch other videos, it sounds like lots and lots and lots of people hated it. People who have read it have called it a really bad book. I have no first-hand knowledge. It could just be their personal opinion. But it kind of blew up in her face, and she reacted by promising to release a 2.0 of the book to try and appease people, and people who've bought the previous book, they would get a free ebook download of the revised edition and stuff like that. She's trying to say things, but she apparently has written a weak book, but she's done a brilliant job of marketing it. So she really knows what to do to market, because, I mean, she sold enough that she made 6 figures on her Kickstarter. But now people are questioning her marketing a book that they feel is bad. And I think it's kind of their word against hers. She probably felt it was a really good book. The problem with a brand new author and someone so young is they really don't have the experience to say what is a really good book yet, unless they have already read hundreds of books. And at her age, 22, I believe she is, could have gone through at least a bachelor's degree by now, and studied up on literature and what makes great literature. So yeah, it is possible for someone that age to know what makes a really good book, but it's also very possible for somebody to get caught up in the excitement going on right now with so many people reading books, so many books hitting really big, like Fourth Wing and Sarah J. Maas and Brandon Sanderson, and just making huge amounts of money, and the media empires that they're building around themselves, and want to do that too. And from what I've seen, it looks like Audra Winter has the marketing chops to do it, but doesn't have the right book yet. And she probably needs more experience writing books before this is all really going to work for her. But she's handling things poorly right now, and people are just criticizing her right and left, which is really pulling the rug out from under her, which is unfortunate. It sounds like this is just a whole big unfortunate coincidence of somebody who had big expectations for something that is not the next great American novel. And all of us do need, I mean, when I was a teenager, I tried writing. Never tried sending any of it to a magazine because I knew it just wasn't good enough. At least it wasn't good enough for what I wanted to do. And eventually I just stopped because I just wasn't getting what I felt was good enough. You have to, you can't be too hard on yourself, but you have to have that reality. I mean, if you've read other authors' work, take a really good hard look at your own work and ask yourself, is it as good as what other authors are doing? Chances are you're going to see where you need to keep working at it, keep pushing yourself. The other bit of news that's been really big, mostly on Daniel Green's channel, but other channels have picked this up too, is a change to Audible's services, their royalties agreement. It looks like they're trying some kind of backdoor type scheme. That's just how it's made to sound, to try and pull money away from authors. And in all fairness, it could be Audible just came up with a change that they thought would be good for everybody. And now everybody's accusing them of all kinds of evil doing, and they may not have intended that. They may have just been trying to improve their system in a certain way and help authors, but it looks like it's going to end up hurting authors from the way people have been explaining the math of the new royalties agreement. And I don't consume audiobooks because I've tried them and I can't keep my attention focused on them, so I never really, I hear the first couple of paragraphs, and after that my mind is off somewhere else, and for 20-30 minutes, and now I'm like, I couldn't tell you anything of what they just said on that thing. So then I have to back up, and I find I never can really get myself in the mindset to really listen to it. So I've given up on audiobooks completely. Which is funny to say because we've started doing readings of public domain material here on Telltale Books, and we want to do more of that because a lot of people seem to like that. But I just can't do it that way. I have to have it printed page or even electronic ebook, but not Audible type books. I can't do those. So usually when somebody is talking about Audible, I just switch to a different video. I don't even care what Audible is doing. But this one, it sounded like they were doing something that is going to really hurt authors. And finally, my opinion piece. I saw yet another video which just was going off on a work of classic science fiction and the usual kind of bullcrap, bad character, and it's not current, it's not now, it's not written the way we write today. And that I just constantly get so frustrated hearing that stuff, because these people are trying to hold it up to a standard that didn't exist when these things were written, and they just can't comprehend that. Okay, it's fine if you don't want to read older stuff, don't read older stuff, but don't put it down publicly on video, because you're judging it based on something that never even existed at the time those works were written. And so how could the authors have written their works up to that standard? It wouldn't have been possible. The earliest science fiction works are really very poorly written, very poorly structured, no characterization, but they were not written by professional authors, and they were written for a market that was viewed to be all just for kids. 12-year-old kids were thought to be the only ones reading this stuff. John Campbell came along, taking over editorship of Astounding, and wanted to make things better, and he did incrementally make it better. He didn't make it up to today's standards, no, but he did improve upon what was being published in the 20s and 30s. The stuff he published in the 40s was better, but there was still some work to be done. But there were some really good books and short stories that were published at that time too. 50s came along and you had a new crop of writers, and some of them did some really great things. But even after they wrote some of their best works in the 50s, there was still some room for improvement. And so in the 60s you had more improvements. In the 70s you had, and things have improved gradually with each new generation of writers to come along. But there were actually some very good things published all the way back in the 30s and 40s. They just were published to a different standard and a different goal. Science fiction back then aimed for the ideas, and it was generally thought that the ideas they were playing with were too big to focus on one character, unless it's a story like Slan where it's all about the superpowers of one character. Otherwise, the characters are just there as like witnesses of the big thing that's happening. And so you, as an author, it was very hard to really get into that big idea and yet focus on character, unless, like I say, the big idea was what was happening to an individual. But you couldn't write every story like that. So something like Foundation, Isaac Asimov realized he was dealing with generations of people, multiple generations of people, and well, he wasn't going to write the Magnificent Ambersons. He was writing something very different. He was writing for a science fiction audience. And he was writing separate novelettes and novellas, not a full novel. And each novelette or novella, he was purposely changing the characters on the stage for what was happening in that particular piece of it. And it was only in the 1950s he strung them together into the original trilogy. But that original trilogy was really just a collection of shorter works, and they only hang together through this whole idea of the psychohistory and Selden's plan with the Foundation. Otherwise, they're very much separate works. So you can't judge it by today's standards. It wasn't written that way. It was written at a different time with different standards, with a different goal in mind. In adapting it for television, they've been doing a good job, but they've been able to build better character by using tricks to continue the same characters through hundreds of years. The one character keeps going into a sleep stasis. Harry Seldon himself becomes an AI, and so as long as he has a holographic computer to be stored in, he lives forever now. The Emperor, of course, is the genetic dynasty that is, they're clones of the original Emperor, and so that character can continue on forever. And then another character is a robot that somehow survived, that somehow was kept around, and the robot can keep going forever. And so that you got this continuity of characters, and you can build those characters. But unless you do those kinds of tricks, or make your characters immortal. You can't do that when you're covering spans of thousands of years. So, once again, I want to reiterate, people need to get off the soapbox with classic science fiction not being the kinds of stuff that Brandon Sanderson writes. Frankly, Sanderson is not that strong of a writer. I think Isaac Asimov could have wrote circles around him were he alive today. But Sanderson is what people are liking today. Harry Potter is what people are liking today. The Hunger Games is what people liked a few years ago. Christopher Rucchio is what people like today. And that's fine. You know, Adrian Tchaikovsky, those are all good authors. And that's fine for today. But don't hold yesterday's authors against today's standards. It's just dumb. It's just dumb to do that. You got to, especially with science fiction, you're dealing with something that is going to face time catching up with it. Anyway, end of opinion. For new books, this time I'm not going to talk about what's coming because I haven't been able to get very good information at the beginning of every month about what all is coming out for the next month. So instead of, I would, and plus I can't show any of it really. I decided instead to talk about stuff that is already out, and most of it I have in hand. There's one I don't have in hand, and that's a new collection of stories by Carol Emshwiller that has been published. It is out. It is shipping. I haven't received my copy yet. As soon as I learned of this, like 2 weeks ago, I went and ordered it. It's just a trade paperback, not super expensive. It's a really good collection of a lot of her best fiction. Recommended book. I'm really looking forward to it. Another one which I ordered quite a while ago from Beehive Books is their new edition of Carmilla. And I gotta take a moment and pull this one out and show it because it's amazing. Beehive is the most incredible publisher. They don't do lots of books. They aren't selling them for $800. They're usually $100 a piece. They are struggling a little bit, but their books are the most beautiful books being done right now. They're kind of oversized, and look how big this is, but look how beautiful the illustration is, and fully illustrated throughout. Nice end papers. Beautiful design and typography and layout. Find one of the illustrations. Illustrated throughout with very nice illustrations. Absolutely amazing. These books are incredible. Very much worth every penny they charge for them. And I think now I've got about half of the Beehive books in my collection. I got the other half I want to get. These are wonderful books, well worth the money. Definitely collector's items. This is the epitome of what we talk about here in Telltale Books as far as what we think books should be, what we would like books to be, what we would like our books to eventually be. Beehive is already doing it, currently shipping. Another one that came out this month is a new book by an author who's been around a while, Joan Slanchevsky, Minds in Transit. A fantastic novel, a celebration of life in all its myriad forms. by Colin Milburn Center for Artificial Intelligence and Experimental Futures. Sounds like an interesting book, but more importantly, it's an author that wrote a few books back in the 1980s, and then kind of she has written other stuff, but haven't really heard anything of her. And now all of a sudden she's got a new book out, so I had to get it. It's trade paperback from Kasich. Not available in hardcover, but it's got a nice illustration on the cover. I really like it. And the final one I want to talk up is 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. We read Dead 11, which you can see back here. And we're blown away, both me and Emily. We really love that book. So when new Jimmy Giuliano was coming out, we knew we had to get it. And then he was booked at Boswell Book Company down in Milwaukee to talk to people. We had met with him at a different venue on the south side of Milwaukee after we read Dead 11. And so we went down and we got him to sign our copies. And not a huge line for him at that time, so we had a lot of time to talk to him. It was really nice. Didn't expect him to remember us, but he did. And he remembered we did these videos. So we went and saw him at Boswell Book Company, and he remembered us, and we talked a little bit. There were people behind us, so we kept it short, got a photo with him. That was a really good time, really good talk. He's a very interesting and very funny author. I enjoy just going and hearing him talk like that. But I also really enjoyed Dead 11, and I haven't got too deep into 13 Months Haunted, but so far it's good. So recommend that one. Finally, what are we doing currently? I'm still reading The Stand. I still intend to finish it. I've pushed back my date for when I want to put a video up a couple of times because it's taking a long time. It is a thick book, a very thick book, and along the way I've decided I wanted to sneak in some other things, and especially I've started doing a series on Homer Eon Flint, which is proving to be very interesting, at least from a historical perspective. I've read his first two stories so far, and I like the first one. The second one, it was okay, but a little too much like early pulp. A little too rough. That review will be coming this week for the second one, and then his third and fourth stories will appear the following week. And the other thing we're doing, well, two things to talk about. Number one, Emily has been getting busier. She's already busy. She's getting busier. She keeps either begging out of reading stories or saying she'll read them, but then just doesn't get the time and doesn't get it read. No matter how much I try to scale things back, we keep running into this problem. So what I'm doing there is she's going to pick what she wants to read, and she's going to read it, and we'll do videos together when she does that. But I'm no longer going to just schedule stuff and say, hey, Emily, let's read all this. I'm going to take it completely off her back, and so she reads whatever she wants, when she wants, and if she reads it with me, we'll do a video together. Otherwise, if it's something I'm not reading, she can do a video herself. And that's perfectly okay. Kind of how it's going to have to be, because the other thing she's doing, she needs for the money, and we're just not making the money we want to be making. We've got our 2 bookstores out online. Lots of really good books there, but people have not discovered it, I guess, because we got a lot of really good books in really good condition, and our customer service numbers are top notch. I I'm in charge of the shipping. I ship him out as quickly as I can after I see the order. Most times the same day that I get the order email, I have it at the post office. But people are just not discovering that, so we're not making much of any money off of it. If we make $50 in a month, we're doing really good. We want to be doing a lot better than that. Good books out there, guys. A lot of the books are from our personal libraries, and they're in really great shape. So check it out. We got a lot of books I'm holding back on putting up just because I got so much out there already. So I got like 5 stacks of books in front of me here that can be put in the stores, but I'm holding back on them because I don't want to have too much inventory sitting up there. So buy the stuff we've got up there, and I'll put more books up. Or if there's something you're looking for, feel free to ask. We probably won't have it because we don't have that big of an inventory, but we just might. So give us a try. There's nothing to lose. Just ask a question. And the other thing we're doing is we're kind of tweaking our video review format a bit. You already have seen a little bit of the changes, especially in the title cards. I've redesigned the title cards, and they're all going to be standardized that way. Mainly to get a little more consistency in our title cards, but also to get a bigger area for the cover of the book, because that's what we're talking about. That's what it's all about. So I wanted to get those book images to be bigger on the title card. And then the video itself, because nobody's finding our online stores, and a lot of people think we're just another booktube channel, we wanted to do a kind of an about us at the beginning of each video, because in addition, most of our videos, the bigger percentage of viewers are people who are not subscribed to us. So I assume they're finding it through a search, or it's coming up on their homepage in YouTube, or it's in the sidebar of other videos, or it just pops in automatically if after they're done with the video they want to watch. And that's where a lot of our viewers are coming from. And so most people don't know who we are. One of our videos comes up, and I'm just a guy talking about some really old science fiction story, and they don't know anything more about us than that. So now we're putting a brief about us clip at the beginning of the videos, so that everybody starting to watch will know who we are. And then the reality of YouTube videos is the majority of people don't watch all the way to the end. Okay, so instead of starting the video, giving a little bit of history of the story, having a long synopsis, and then having our opinions at the end of the video, what we want to do is have have our title, intro, the about us, and then do a shorter, briefer segment where we basically sum up what we're going to talk about if you do watch to the end. Basically we'll give a very brief synopsis, 1 or 2 sentences, some bullet point type statements of what we thought, and then we'll go into the history, and then we'll get into a section that may have spoilers, very well may have spoilers, especially with short stories. Especially if Emily is, she has a tendency to just go right into spoilers and not say anything. And we'll get into a more detailed synopsis, and then get into our opinions, our thoughts on the story, and our opinions of it, and any topics that come off of that occur to us as we read the story, and do a deeper thing. So if you stick with us to the end of our videos, you'll get a lot out of it. But if you just want to quickly find out if the story's for you, you can get that within the first 4 minutes of our videos. Except these wrap-ups. These wrap-ups, I ramble. This is my chance. And that's the way these are going to be. So that's new format for our video reviews. Mostly just going to affect the reviews. The other types of videos we do are going to be pretty much the same as we've been doing. I hope you'll like that format. I hope people respond well to that, and I hope it helps people to learn what we're all about and what we want to do here, what we're aiming to do, and gets more people behind us in this journey. And that wraps it. If you've stuck it through to this, thank you. Thanks for sticking with me and listening to all this. And that's preparing you for, that's what we've been through in August and where our head is at, and should prepare you for what's to come in September. Some great stuff coming up. Great season coming up. My favorite time of the year. My birthday's in September. And I just like the somewhat cooler weather. I love the September light. There's just something about it. It's like no other month of the year. I absolutely love it. Favorite time of year. And of course, I didn't look into the new releases this time, but September and October are usually the biggest months for new releases. And I know there's a new Daniel Lewski, House of Leaves. He's coming out with a new book this fall sometime. I'm looking forward to that, and I will be buying that. So thank you for sticking with me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come on back and see all the things we've got in store for you for the month of September. Home to Beyond Flint, Austin Hall, Stephen King, some Edgar Allan Poe, some H.P. Lovecraft. Some great stuff coming.